Most people think depression looks obvious. They picture someone crying all the time, unable to get out of bed, barely functioning. But here's the truth most people miss. Some of the most depressed people you'll ever meet look fine. They show up. They work. They laugh at the right moments. They answer, "I'm good," without hesitation. And that's exactly why their depression goes unnoticed, sometimes for years. In this video, we're breaking down 5 hidden signs of depression that don't look like depression at all. These are subtle, quiet, easy to explain away, but together, they tell a serious story. And pay close attention, because number 4 is the most important, and the one most people completely misunderstand. Before we begin, one important thing. This is not about diagnosing anyone. Psychologists don't diagnose from videos, lists, or comments. This is about patterns, emotional, mental, and behavioral patterns that often show up beneath the surface. All right, let's begin. 1. Constant exhaustion that rest doesn't fix. This is not normal tiredness. This is the kind of exhaustion that sleep doesn't touch. You can sleep 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, and still wake up feeling empty, drained, heavy. Psychologist Aaron Beck, one of the founders of cognitive psychology, described depression as a condition that deeply affects energy, not just mood. The mind becomes overloaded with negative processing, rumination, and self-monitoring. That mental effort consumes enormous energy. So the person isn't just tired. They're mentally overworked. What makes this sign hidden is how easily it gets misread. People say, "I'm just busy. I'm burnt out. I need a vacation." And sometimes that's true. But with depression, the tiredness doesn't lift even when life slows down. There's no feeling of being restored. No sense of "I'm back." Instead, everything feels like effort. Replying to messages, making decisions, having conversations, doing simple tasks. Even enjoyable things start to feel strangely exhausting. This isn't laziness. It's not lack of motivation. It's the nervous system running in survival mode for too long. And often, the person doesn't realize this exhaustion is emotional, not physical. 2. Emotional numbness instead of sadness. This one surprises people. Depression is not always about feeling sad. In many cases, it's about feeling nothing at all. Psychiatrist Viktor Frankl talked about something he called existential emptiness, a state where emotions flatten and meaning fades. Modern psychology recognizes this as anhedonia, the reduced ability to feel pleasure. People with this sign often say things like, "I don't feel sad. I just don't feel much. Nothing really excites me anymore. I'm not unhappy. I'm just blank." They still laugh. They still talk. They still function. But the emotional depth is gone. Music doesn't hit the same. Food tastes dull. Achievements feel empty. Moments pass without impact. This numbness is dangerous because it feels stable. Sadness at least signals that something is wrong. Numbness convinces you that this is just how life is now. And because there's no obvious pain, people don't reach out. They assume, this must be adulthood. This is just maturity. Maybe I'm not an emotional person. But emotional numbness is often the mind's way of protecting itself from overwhelm. When emotions feel too heavy for too long, the brain turns the volume down. The problem is, it turns everything down. 3. Being high-functioning at a cost. This is one of the most misunderstood signs of depression. Some people don't fall apart. They become hyper-capable. They work harder. They stay productive. They stay reliable. From the outside, they look impressive. This is often called high-functioning depression, though it's not an official diagnosis. Psychologist Carl Jung once said, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of its parents." While he was speaking broadly, the idea applies here too. Many high-functioning depressed people learned early that worth comes from performance. So they cope by doing. They stay busy to avoid feeling. They achieve to feel valuable. They push through because stopping feels dangerous. But here's the hidden cost. Everything becomes transactional. Rest feels earned, not necessary. Self-worth depends on output. Mistakes feel catastrophic. Inside, there's constant pressure. Don't slow down. Don't fail. Don't let anyone see you slip. And when the productivity drops, even slightly, the emotional crash is brutal. This sign often goes unnoticed because society rewards it. We praise resilience. We admire discipline. We applaud work ethic. But we don't ask, what is it costing them to live like this? 4. Loss of self-trust. This is the most important one. This is the core sign, the quiet center of many depressive experiences, and most people never talk about it. Loss of self-trust means you no longer believe your own thoughts, feelings, or decisions are valid. You second-guess everything. Am I overreacting? Am I being dramatic? Do I even have the right to feel this way? Psychologist Martin Seligman, known for his work on learned helplessness, showed how repeated experiences of feeling powerless can train the mind to stop trusting itself. When this happens, people stop listening inward. They defer constantly to other people's opinions, to external validation, to rules, routines, or expectations. They become disconnected from their own inner compass. This is devastating because self-trust is the foundation of mental health. Without it, boundaries collapse, needs go unexpressed, emotions get suppressed, identity becomes unstable. The person may appear calm and agreeable, but internally, there's confusion and self-doubt. They don't know what they want anymore. They don't trust what they feel. They don't believe their pain is legitimate. This is why number 4 is the most important sign. Because when someone loses self-trust, they stop advocating for themselves, and depression deepens quietly. 5. Withdrawing without cutting people off. This is an obvious isolation. They still respond to messages. They still show up sometimes. They still socialize. But something has changed. They stop initiating. They stop sharing. They stop letting people in emotionally. Psychologist John Bowlby, who studied attachment, noted that when emotional needs go unmet for too long, people adapt by minimizing those needs. They tell themselves they're fine alone. So instead of saying, "I'm struggling," they say, "I'm just tired. I'm busy. I'll catch up later." They become emotionally unavailable, even to people they care about. Not because they don't love others, but because they don't have the energy to explain what they don't fully understand themselves. This quiet withdrawal often looks like independence, but inside, there's loneliness. And loneliness, when internalized, feeds depression. Why these signs stay hidden? Depression hides well because it adapts. It doesn't always crash into your life. Sometimes it slowly rearranges it. It teaches you to cope, to function, to minimize. It becomes familiar. And familiarity is dangerous because it stops feeling like a problem. Depression is not a weakness. It's not a failure of character. It's not a lack of gratitude or effort. It's a psychological state that reshapes how a person relates to themselves, their energy, their emotions, and their world. If any of these signs felt uncomfortably familiar, that doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means something important is asking for attention. And attention is where healing begins. Not with labels, not with shame, but with understanding. And sometimes, simply naming what's been quietly happening inside.